Wonderful. Thank you, Jorge. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome all who gathered together today. This is indeed God's house, a place of prayer for all. I have a few community-related announcements before we begin today. First of all, if it gets too hot or too cold in here, let me know or let Heather know in some way, shape, or form. I can't tell temperature, so just like I can't tell time sometimes. So, if it were up to me, it would be very cold in here. So let me know if it gets to be uncomfortable. I want to thank Denise Carson for providing social hospitality today. Thank you so much. She is fresh in from the beach. She is actually taking a week off from the beach, being here, and then we'll go back to the beach for a little while longer. Thank you, Denise. I also want to mention that the men's ministry will be meeting after worship today. And if you have any questions, see Frank. Raise your hand. The men's ministry is open and inclusive to anyone who is masculine and identifies as such. I also want to mention that this is summer, and we do have a lot of people out and traveling. So school's out for summer. Church is not out for summer. But some churches are. I haven't figured it out, but we are not out for summer. So I want to thank you all for being here very much. If there's no other community-related announcements, symbolic of being present here now, please take a moment to turn off your cell phones and set them to silent operation. Take a beat, take a breath, and hold this moment. You are here now among friends. Center yourself and hold peace in your heart as you prepare yourself for our worship together. And wish peace to all, even those who do not wish peace to us.
Morning, y'all.
Morning.
This morning, well, I actually started Friday night. You do the smallest things in your lives, and you take it for granted that you can do it. And it's been pretty cool. I've managed to be able to walk my dog for the first time since my stroke. Go animal, all 3 days. And he's kind of a feisty creature. But I didn't fall. I kept my balance on the steps with him and everything. It made me happy. And the second thing is that I've been trying for a while to get a neurologist to sign me off like a post-stroke evaluation so I can go back to work. Couldn't do anything, so I called my health insurance company. They referred me to Fairfax Hospital and got me signed up, and I've got an appointment on Tuesday. And if I get approved, I get to go back to work handling real dogs. So just the smallest things right now are making me happy. And you have to thank God for that. So, my name is T, and I'm co-lead of the MCC Northern Virginia Animal Rights Ministry along with Genevieve, who's gallivanting around Scotland somewhere. So go animals, and I'm not going to do a Scottish accent, so you guys are lucky for that. And we bring illumination to our space this morning with candles and with words adapted from psychiatrist, author, and pioneer in near-death studies, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Learning lessons in life is a little like reaching maturity. I don't really know what that's like, but that's okay. You are not suddenly more happy wealthy, or powerful, but you understand the world around you better, and you're at peace with yourself. Learning life's lessons is not about making your life perfect. It's about seeing life as it was meant to be seen.
Good morning, family. I'm Denise. And I'm glad to be back today. Her gathering words. Please join together with me the gathering words this morning adapted by Amanda Udis Kessler as they appear in your printed program. This morning, as all mornings, we are called to pay attention. We are called to pay attention to the natural world around us. Today, and all days, we are called to pay attention. We are called to pay attention to our individual lives, to our delights and distractions. Throughout our lives, we are called to pay attention. We are called to pay attention to the people in our lives, to celebrate their joys and be present with them in their struggles. In all that happens around us, we are called to pay attention. We are called to pay attention to the society in which we live, to understand the ways and lives of people we don't know are impacted by things foreign to us. We are called to pay attention to what we know and what we believe. In all things, we are called to pay attention.
This morning I feel like the prophet Isaiah. How lovely on the mountains are the feet of them who bring good news, announcing peace, proclaiming happiness. Our God reigns. We get so involved in the dis and dat of life. Agreed? This has been a week of the dis and dats for me, certainly. But I feel like the more that we are engulfed in the dis and dats, it's easier for us to become discouraged. Agreed? I think the best thing to counteract the discouragement that many of us face is to remember whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Our mental ability and our mental focus on our spiritual life, on our prayer life, really does make a great impact on whether we're discouraged or whether we're encouraged. And so today, we do come together boldly before the throne of grace, with all of our many joys and concerns, with hopes and care for one another, great concern for our communities, our world, but also to be a presence for each other during times of sadness and concern. And there's no one in this room that is immune to that. There's no spiritual perfection here, only godly goodness. Prayers of comfort and healing for Starlene as she recovers from knee replacement surgery. We are very happy to have her back with us today and seeing her walking and being a part of our community again. We're very happy to have you back with us. Continued prayers for Susan. I know you've been giving yourself in your health care, and we appreciate that and continue to pray for you. And also prayers for Em as they help continue to support. We're very thankful for the health that we see coming, so very good. Continued prayers of journeying mercies for Kurt. He's still in Peru doing his mission work with La Sagrada Familia, and his work we know is part of his passion and his blessing. Prayers of journeying mercies for Genevieve as she travels. She'll be away for, I think, a couple weeks. Prayers of thanksgiving for Denise's continued healing. We're very happy to have Denise back with us. Prayers of journeying mercies for Jamie and Marcy as they travel. We watch the beauty unfolding of the strength and continued healing that T is. It's beautiful to be a part of this community where we can come and see the beauty of God and the work that He's doing each time we take part in being with each other. Prayers of strength and healing for our angels as they continue treatment for cancer and as they celebrate life. Jaime had a procedure on Friday. It was an in and out. He is doing well and recuperating, needs to take it easy. So Fab is with Jaime, and Maru and Lolita are out of town. So we want to continue to pray for them. Prayers of continued healing for Frank. Frank, I might add, you're looking very healthy and chipper today. So as he continues the process of seeking a liver transplant, continued prayers of healing and strength for Corey and journeying mercies as he travels. We want to offer up continued prayers of healing for Heather's brother Steve as he continues his radiation and his chemo, and also prayers of strength for his wife Donna as she cares for Steve. Definitely prayers for our nation, for all the communities around us. We are in a place where we need to find our place, which I believe is on our knees, seeking God's help, direction, wisdom, and guidance for everything that's going on around us. Prayers of calm and presence for Margaret. Continued prayers of healing for Sarah Huggins' mother. I have a little praise report from this week. I woke up one morning this week and I thought I was going to star in the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown movie because jaundice had set in. And it was simply because they, when they took the tubes out, the stent out, they forgot to schedule the appointment to put the new ones back in. And so I went to the emergency room and they said, "What are you here for?" I said, "Now, isn't that kind of obvious?" But I was able to be in there overnight. Everything is wonderful, fine, healing. And so I just want to encourage you. Your health is very important, but your health doesn't define you. Prayers for all those everywhere who are wrestling with life's greatest issues. People everywhere that are in the paths of the storms of life, because there are many people that are suffering, mourning, and grieving. Now, if there are any names you wish to offer up in prayer, please speak them aloud where you are. And now, a time of silence for the prayers in our hearts. These are unspoken prayers. Sounds and sighs too deep for words that Spirit hears. And all God's children say, Amen.
Good morning. My name is Margot Shifley, and today's first reading is from Luke 12:54 through 59. Then Jesus turned to the crowd. "When you see the clouds coming in from the west, you say, 'It's going to rain.' And so it does. And when you see the wind come out of the south, you say, 'It's going to be a hot one.' And you're right. Frauds, hypocrites. You know how to interpret and read the appearance of the earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret and read the present time? And why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? When you go with your accuser to court, make an effort to reach a settlement on the way. Or you may be taken before a judge, and the judge hands you over to the officer, and the officer throws you into prison. I tell you, you won't be released until you have paid every last penny. And our second reading is adapted from a Chilean-American author, Isabel Allende. I have lived with passion and in a hurry, trying to accomplish too many things. I never had time to think about my beliefs until my 28-year-old daughter, Paula, fell ill. She was in a coma for over a year, and I took care of her at home until she died in my arms in December of 1992. Paralyzed and silent in her bed, my daughter Paula taught me a lesson that is now my mantra. You only have what you give. I had to throw overboard all excess baggage and keep only what is essential. Because of Paula, I don't cling to anything anymore. Now I live to give much more than to receive. I'm happier when I love than when I am loved. I adore my spouse, my son, my grandchildren, my mother, my dog, and frankly, I don't even know if they like me. But who cares? Loving them is my joy. Give, give, give. What is the point of having experience, knowledge, or talent if you don't give it away? Of having stories if you don't tell them to others? Or having wealth if I don't share it? I don't intend to be buried or cremated with any of it. It is in giving that I connect with others, with the world, and with the divine. It is in giving that I feel the spirit of my daughter, a soft presence within.
Our song of response, "Oh, grant us, God, a little space," number 516. You may stand as you're able. And now, Reverend Emmer's Reflection, Biblically Hot, Part 3. It's going to be a hot one.
Thank you so much. Will you join me now in a word of prayer, please? Loving Spirit, help us to journey through the days of our lives, days when the temperature of all that surround us seems so hot. Help us to move through our days, not just going through the motions, but living and learning and growing, paying attention, awake and alert to the signs of the times. and all of the new possibilities that surround us. And grant us an abiding awareness of your presence on the journey, moving in us, around us, and through us. In your many holy names we pray. Amen. With my dad being a Methodist minister, our family moved around a lot. So there were several little towns that I grew up in, or at least grew through some various significant stages of my life. And sometimes I go back and visit these places physically. Now, I remember the first time I went back to such a place. It was Covington, Virginia, where I lived from the age of 3 to 7. If you've ever been through Covington, you know that there's a pulpwood mill there, and we lived with it and breathed it day and night. Now, it had been many years since I had been back there. I found the house where we lived. It was on Fudge Street. And I found other familiar landmarks. But navigating my way around was just not easy. Everything looked different. Stores had changed into other stores. Restaurants had new lives as something totally different. And some places were going altogether. Nothing, absolutely nothing, was where I had left it. Pretty soon I found myself driving the wrong way on a one-way street. I had completely ignored all the signs. Unable to see them. I wasn't looking for them. I was so confident that I knew where I was going. I was following some sort of outdated map in my head. When, if I were smart and just used the sense that God gave me, I would have paid attention to the signs and treated the old place like a new place. Because what I once knew, the place I once knew, no longer existed. Yet what it had become was just familiar enough to disorient me, to confuse me, and upset me. Much more than it would have done otherwise had I treated it as a strange and new place altogether. Reading the signs around me rather than the ones that were stuck in my head. That ever happened to you? Can I get an amen? Amen. The experience came to mind this week as I browsed through the pages of Facebook of the friends that I knew a long time ago. A few old friends. These were very good friends from various points in my very distant past. One from elementary school, one from college, one from my life after college. All three have become very conservative in their views, conservative in the things that they believe, as well as the places from whence they get their news and their current events. I recoiled in disbelief as I looked at how they interpreted the present times. And I have to wonder what happened to them, or what happened to me. Did my journey through the LGBTIQ plus communities shape me so much? Shape me so much as to carry me down a completely different path, socially, culturally, theologically, forming my ideology and how I see and move through the world? I would like to think that my views of the world would have remained consistent otherwise. But I don't know that, and to be honest, I don't think that they would have. My journey to myself profoundly changed how I see the present times. And so I thank God that I came to encounter my own queerness, which in many ways lifted the scales from my eyes and helped me to grow up and beyond where I once was, and enable me to see the world today more clearly. Seeing me as I am allowed me to more clearly see the world as it is. I had long ago given up on changing the views of my old friends, or rather my friends from long ago. They were stuck, unable to change or to grow. like one of the princes in Grimm's fairy tale, Water of Life, who went down a path that eventually led to a very, 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 very narrow pass where he and his horse got stuck, wedged tight in the rocks, and he could neither move forward nor backward. My friends can't go forward, neither can they go back. As I looked at what they had written, I had to acknowledge that I would not become friends with this person had I met them today. And that made me very, very sad. My memory of who they were is stronger in some ways than the reality of who they are and who I am. And it is very hard for me to see them accurately today in the present because of how I remember them yesterday in the past. In that sense alone, I am stuck. I am stuck. In some ways, I'm unable to correctly see and interpret who they are now. In truth, they're simply someone that I used to know. And I stay in touch with them because, who knows, out of love, out of wanting to be an out-queer person in their very closed-in, straight-laced life, but perhaps because they remind me also of who I might have become had I not encountered the very queer soul at the heart of me and who I am. The presence within me, making me grateful for every ache, pain, bump, scrape, injury, wound, and scar made by my very queer journey thus far, which has left me much more open and compassionate to the needs and the pain of all people, including my friends from long ago. Earlier in the passage from the Gospel of Luke today, although it wasn't read here, Jesus said he had come to set fire and to get things cooking. He was all up in the Pharisees, members of his own religion who pretended to have such knowledge and wisdom. They were pretenders, actors. That's what the word hypocrite means. And Jesus is often in opposition to them. And I believe that this is because he was once among them, that he emerged from the Pharisaical school of thought and teaching and could now see how he got to where he was and wondered why on earth they were still stuck where they were. If that's the case, I'm sure their lack of growth frustrated Jesus a great deal. And so Jesus addresses the weather forecasters of his day, and he thinks they really missed the mark when it comes to current events. They could forecast the weather, predict from the earth signs around them, west winds from the Mediterranean Sea that came in heavy with moisture, bringing rain and storms with them, south winds that blew in over the scorching plains and desert, like hot breath over a hot plate, leading them to say, oh, yeah, it's going to be a hot one. But for all their professed wisdom, they could not read the signs of the times. They could not see what was happening, what was coming, the dominion of God, the nature of God being revealed right before their eyes in the presence and the teachings of Jesus, who was probably very strange and queer to them, and in the oppression of the Roman government about to reach a boiling point. Soldiers patrolling the streets, ID checkpoints, open corruptions, blatant, naked hypocrisy. Hypocrisy that others seemed unable to perceive, interpret, or even see. We are indeed living in interesting times, with so many wandering around, trying to navigate with old maps in their heads. No one and nothing is where they left anything. And they are so confident that they know where they're going, that they are unable to see and read the signs all around them. thinking that if they only push hard enough, they can get back to where they were in life. Trying to get back, not by using the good sense that God gave them, but by force. Back to a time that has passed, or really a time that perhaps never really was. Trying to get back by force if they keep pushing. The winds are coming in from the south, the plains and the wilderness, and it's going to be a hot one, people. Stay hydrated. And I got to ask you this, where do you get your hydration? The water that replaces what you have lost so that you can live and go on. Where do you get your hydration? The life-giving water. Do you get it through community? Do you get it through your close friends, your church, your loved ones? I pray it's not social media. That may likely dehydrate you. We're going to have to use all of our senses and the good sense that God gave us to get through the days in which we live. Now, after the weather bit, Jesus seemingly changed gears and then talked a lot about going to court. What's up with that, Jesus? This is the importance of context. You have to understand who he was talking to first and what he was talking to them about. He was talking to the Pharisees, and he was talking to them about being able to read the signs in the present time, the present times. And so he leads into a very brief parable that's very much along the same lines, the present times. Jesus is saying, do something today while you can. While you have the time, while you have the moment and the opportunity before you get stuck in a place that you can't get out of. Theologian Frederick Buechner puts the same thing another way. Quote, see today for what it is because it will be gone before you know it. If you waste it, it is your life that you are wasting. If you look the other way or look back, you may miss the moment and the opportunity that you have been waiting for. All other days have either disappeared into oblivion or not yet appeared or emerged. Today is the only day there is. End quote. We have to read the signs in the present time and know that we are in a new place. It may seem familiar, but it is not what we once knew. And we can't make it that way. No more than I could make Covington the way that I remembered it, or my friends the way that I remembered them. And we will indeed emerge from these days bearing bumps and marks and scars, just like we did with 9/11, just like we did with the AIDS plague, yet hopefully wiser, having learned the lessons that only history can teach us. Don't miss the signs and don't miss the meaning of this time in your lives. Make it mean something. Pay attention. Learn from your days. Do not just go through them. Grow through them. Grow through your days. Don't just suffer and struggle, but seek the lessons that are contained in that pain. Like our contemporary reading today, finding a great lesson in great pain, the loss of her daughter. Find the lessons in the burn. Find the lessons in the heat. For if we do not use this time to grow emotionally, socially, and spiritually, then we have missed the opportunity to do so. We have missed the opportunity to settle up with our accuser and to avoid the fate of getting stuck somewhere, jailed in a place that we may not have the resources to get out of. So settle up. And in the odd, counterintuitive way of life, you only have what you give. You only have what you give away. Be it love, wealth, resources, time, talent, stories, even your attention. You only have what you give. in life. Pay attention to the signs of the times and the current events. Read them like you would read the weather in the present moment. Know when things are going to be unsettled. Know we are in a time when the old ways no longer work. Even the weather is difficult to forecast these days. And know that today, the only day that really matters, well, it's going to be a hot one. Stay hydrated, my friends. So may it be. One of these days we're going to play. Now is the time that we come to hear your thoughts. Anything that may have gotten stirred in your heart space this morning, please raise your hand, please speak up, and please be brief.
Thank you, Reverend Emma, for so timely a sermon and so necessary a sermon. I do have a question. I struggle with maintaining a positive attitude towards people who have diametrically opposed viewpoints. And do you have any advice on how one can maintain a truly Christian attitude towards even people who are totally against you?
First of all, glad to have you all here today and glad to hear your comments. Second of all, you asked the question as though I may have the answer. I have those struggles too. And I'm not entirely sure that there is an answer except to be and exist in the struggle. And there are some times when the struggle exceeds my ability to continue it. Depending on what it is, if it's Facebook, there's always silence, turn people off for a while. I am not above doing that because there are things that may only agitate me. And I can't change other people's opinions. And sometimes the answer is just completely disconnecting altogether. And sometimes the news is very difficult to listen to as well. So the only thing I can offer is I can say that you're not alone in the struggle. And if while in the struggle you discover a good solution to that, let me know. I will broadcast it. Thank you.
One of the things I'm learning about myself is that I'm learning self-care. And I was having a conversation yesterday with someone who was wanting me to join them in a gathering of relatives who, the other relatives, they're the type that if you say black, they say white. If you say purple, they say green. Those types of things. They're diametrically opposed to everything I am about. And I told the person I'm not coming. And they said, oh, but they want to see you. Da, 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 da. I said, but I really don't want to see them because I'm practicing self-care and I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I feel it's toxic. And so I just pull away. Not because I hate them, not because I don't feel I have Christian love for them and all that, but it's because self-care. So how I've kind of taken what you're talking about, Ed, is that I have to take measures to take care of me first.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like being on an airplane where they say, put the air mask on you first before you put the ones on the children. Because if you pass out before the child gets the oxygen, you're not any good to anybody.
Indeed. As my dad would say, if you don't take care of yourself, you'll be of no good to anyone else.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing sermon. I've been avoiding the news a lot because it's just been terrible. Just anytime I see the news, my heart rate goes up and I can feel my blood boil. And I feel like all of the pollsters are the prognosticators of the day. And I've been specifically trying to avoid them because they are keeping us from thinking about what's actually happening now and turning politics into guessing about what's going to happen several months in the future. And it's just been miserable. And so instead, coming here and being connected with everyone, having my queer family here, and I love it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you, Reverend Emma, for the wonderful sermon. A number of us are, I like to notice not the hot breeze. If it's hot, I'll enjoy the hot breeze. If I enjoy it, if I don't enjoy it, I'll go someplace cool. And so when I run into those hot breezes or negative people, I tend to go away from them. And one thing that I wanted to notice is a good cool breeze is that when a number of us walked into the sanctuary of the church today, we noticed a wonderful scent, a wonderful cool breeze. And that was, here is responsible for that. He went through all the work of putting down fragrance in here to make the sanctuary a cooler breeze place. And I want to just give appreciation.
Thank you so much for that. I meant to thank you earlier, David. Thank you for helping to clean the church. Both David and Genevieve cleaned the bathrooms, and David cleaned and freshened up the entire space. I want to thank you for using your talents and your time. It is very much appreciated and noticed. Thank you. It does. It does.
Thank you, David. When I meet someone or hear about someone who is totally against the LGBT plus community, I feel sorry for them. And I have to understand that I cannot change them. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change. Because if I try to change them, it won't work, and I'll just end up frustrated, and I'll end up with the resentment, and it only hurts me. Generally, I try to pray for people because they're missing the opportunity to give love. And giving love is part of what fills what used to be the hole in my soul. And I have to understand I can't control people. It's not my job to decide what another person thinks is right or wrong. And you can't change people's mind generally once they form an opinion. No one ever changed someone's mind on Facebook, I'm sure.
No, never.
The only way for me to change a person's mind is like when I went back to work after I transitioned. I knew hundreds and hundreds of people, many of whom I'm sure really didn't have an opinion on transgender people, but they knew me from before, and they knew me and they trusted me, and hopefully, and they were all accepting. That was a way I got to change some people's minds by exhibiting that I'm just a normal person. I pay taxes, I have a job, I'm just a normal person. And I think that I changed some people's minds there by how I acted.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. That's moving through things and growing through things. Thank you. And helping others do the same. Thank you.
I wanted to add that I think it's important to understand what feeling and emotion you're acting on. If the thing you're seeing is the person's response is causing you to be angry and full of hate yourself, and then you're acting on that, you're just spreading that. So if you don't have love, a joy to give in the moment, then walking away is the right thing. But as Kate said, right, she lived her life and loved herself, and people see that, and that's what changes minds. So.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. There have been some studies that have been done that show that violence is contagious, and that hate, of course, is contagious as well. And I think that we're all kind of versed for that, because sometimes when we see it, we mirror that. And it goes back to the very same thing that Jesus preached that is counterintuitive. You can't out-hate somebody. But you can give them love, and that can help drive out hate. Yes.
In my family, there's always been a surprise factor come up at any given time But in this case, my sister and I are basically, I'm kind of a, I don't know if there's such thing as a conservative liberal, and she's a liberal. I mean, retired school teacher, and she's right up forefront of all the social events and stuff. But she has really never met any of my gay friends or any of my trans friends or anything. So when I had my stroke, my whole family stepped up. Even even the ones I didn't get along with. And then they start meeting my friends. They met David, they met Margot, and I doubt if that's my Republican brother had ever been that close to a trans person or to a gay man. I mean, but they basically handled it with a lot of grace, a lot of love. They really enjoyed them. And then they all stepped up to help me out. I was surprised. But, I mean, my older brother and I, we fought like brothers are, because we're only 2 years apart. But he's always been the one to get the good grades, and Republican, the good-looking one, and I hated him for it. I'll be blunt. I didn't like my brothers, either one of my brothers, but my sister and I have always been close.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her. And now I love my whole family. It's really weird.
And that's love. That's love. Thank you for sharing that.
Your sister's a hoot, and your brother is too. But also, you both like to pick on your sister a good bit. She really is. Like she makes herself an easy target. But I remember just going back, and I actually had my high school reunion not too long ago, which is kind of shocking, as I only graduated in 2019. But there were so many who were like, "Oh, are you married yet? Oh, have a partner?" Because they were like, "Oh, I don't know what the right phrase to say." And then some of them just completely ignored me, especially when they found out, "Oh, I don't go to a Catholic church anymore." I know, how scandalous. And the priest kept trying to convince me to go back and everything. Yeah. I had some fun with that. And it just felt so funny how separated that room was with me, and how I felt like who I could talk to, who I can't talk to, and I got to avoid them, and some of them even avoided me easily, and it made it so much easier.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to thank you all for sharing. You have enriched my journey. There is a lot I could say here, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to save it for another time. But the thing that I think that is most important is that the things I want to address are policies. They're not politics. And it upsets me that politics, that my life, my existence, my very relationship has been made political. That's nonsense. And that's not something that I'm going to stand for. And I think that's mean and bad. And I don't think that that's right. It irritates me and it aggravates me. But help me stay hydrated, okay? Help me stay hydrated. Help me to find the things that those moments cause me to lose. And that's what I count on my community to do. Yes, Heather?
Or to go back together no matter what they say.
Exactly. Nobody can vote on our relationship. And if you have any question, ask me which finger I wear my ring on.
Whoops. Oh, hi, I'm Kate. I'm on the board and I'm the treasurer. I know things. Good morning. Take a moment. Look at the people. Smile. Wasn't supposed to read that part. In the olden days, people built altars in the places where they encountered God, just like in the scripture today. And there they would offer up their time, their very best. their time, their labor, their love, just as our tithes and offerings are our very best, our support of a dream and a vision, and our affirmation of this community's existence. We give of ourselves from a place of life and love, and we do so with a full awareness that even our very presence here in this space this morning is a gift, a moment of great grace, joy, and love, a gift given to God and to each other. Community, for we know we are not only here for ourselves, but we are here for each other, a human testament of hope and caring. We ourselves are an offering, for we give life to this community. We keep the roof over our heads, keeping us dry in the rain, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. We provide food for the hungry, welcome for the guests, care for those in need, a meeting place for those who need a safe place to gather, and a place where we may reflect on our lives and life's challenges, life's beauty, and life's blessings. And we do so together as a community of faith. During this act of worship, we commit our time, talent, treasure, labor, and love to the greater things that can happen in our world as we give back to God a small portion of what God has blessed us with.
We lift our voices, we lift our hands, we lift our lives up to you. We are an offering. God, use our voices, God, use our hands, God, use our lives. They are yours. We are an offering. All that we all that we are, all that we hope to be, we give to you, we give to you. We lift our voices, we lift our hands, we lift our lives up to you. We are an offering. We are an offering.
We gather here around the table this morning
As a part of the surrounding mystery, this table that joins us together,
with our siblings, those that have come before us.
and those who have yet to walk among us.
Welcome to the table.
Because at the Metropolitan Community Church of Northern Virginia, like MCCs all over the world, we celebrate an open communion.
This means that you don't need to be a member of this church or of any church in order to have a place at this table.
Nor do you need to have any specific set of beliefs as to what happens at this table.
You need only be present. You have a place at this table as a child of God.
And the one who prepared this table, the one who invited us here, the one who called us here to join with other followers, also invites us to remember
That on the night Jesus was arrested and taken into custody by the authorities,
on the night before he was sentenced to death by crucifixion,
he gathered with his disciples, with his friends, with his chosen family for the feast of the Passover.
and then he took the bread, a simple gift of sun, earth, ground grain, and water, and he did a new thing. He broke it open, saying, "Take, this is my body, my essence, all that I am. Open, take, eat, and do this, and remember me."
And then he took the cup, filled with the fruit of the vine, simple gift of sun, earth, crushed grape, and thyme. And when he had blessed it and given thanks for it, he held it out to them, and he said, "Take, drink. This is the cup of the new covenant poured out for you for the forgiveness of transgressions and broken relationships. This is what flows through me. This is what gives me life. Take, drink, and as you do this, remember me.
Do all who wish to receive have communion.
Thank you. Thank you. As is the way with MCCs, if you wish to receive a brief individual prayer or blessing, you may come forward as directed by our usher. There will be an unmasked communion minister on one side and a masked communion minister on the other. Please express to the usher if you do have a preference. If you do not wish to have an individual prayer or blessing, please sit silently in meditation and prayer as our pianist plays softly. If you do wish, please come forward to the usher as you are. usually the one that does the communal blessing, and I appreciate the way that he does it. He does it so much better than I ever could. And so, with that having been said, I do want to tell you that each and every one of you are blessed and a blessing. And I want to thank you for your presence here, and I want to thank you for enriching my journey. And in the moment of silence, that Quaker spirit within me celebrates and blesses you.
And as Kurt would say, and now we sing. Our closing hymn is Now Is the Time Approaching, number 609. You may stand as you're able. Now is the time approaching, my prophets come foretold, when all shall dwell together, secure and manifold. Let war be learned no longer, let strife and tumult cease. On earth a blessed garden, that God shall end in peace. Now all that now divide us remove and pass away, like mist of early morning before the blaze of day. Let all that now unites us receive and lasting proof, a closer bond of union in blessed land of love. O long expected dawning, come with your cheering ray, yet shall the promise beckon and lead us not astray. Oh, sweet anticipation, it cheers the watchers on to pray and hope and labor till Christ the realm is on.
So I do want to mention again that the men's ministry will be meeting after the time of fellowship. And I do also want to thank Denise for providing social hospitality. And I also do want to mention that Jorge will be traveling for the next couple of weeks. And so please send him your prayers and blessings of journeying mercies as he goes forth. And we will miss you when you're gone, but we're grateful that we have many recordings of your greatest hits. So we give thankful for that. Go forth now, renewed and refreshed, whole and holy. Go forth paying attention, giving your attention, knowing that all you have is what you give. Learn from the pain of loss and stay hydrated. Stay hydrated with life-giving water, water that replenishes all that you have lost. And now may the love of God, the Creator, the grace, mercy, and peace of Jesus Christ, the Liberator, and the friendship and community of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with you, with us all. And may God's grace guide your feet until we meet again. Be at peace and go in peace.